We are Yam. We were founded to solve the two hardest challenges to cloud gaming, cost and speed. Our solution was to build a decentralized GPU network focused on eliminating latency and drastically reducing costs.
We were founded to
This is
solve
what we've
the
done.
hardest challenges to
Yam
cloud
has built the first game-focused decentralized network that allows AAA games to be playable on any screen through your web browser.
latency
We
and
now have the technology on which to build a 3D internet with immersive e-commerce, 3D social media, virtual events, and so much more beyond cloud gaming. Come find out more at www.yam.oo. We are Yam, the game-focused decentralized network empowering the world's creative future. Come find out more at www.yam.oo. We are Yam, the game-focused decentralized network.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Immersive Internet. Today I have as a guest Nick.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Daniel. I think I hear a bit of an echo. I don't know if
Yes.
it's the same
Let
on
me
your
see
end.
where.
Internet. Today I have.
Okay, one sec.
Nick.
Yeah, no worries.
I think that was the Telegram. I don't think there's an echo anymore, right?
Yeah, now it's perfect. Now I don't hear
Okay,
anything
yeah,
else.
I was streaming as well to our Telegram channel, but apparently
worries at all.
some issues with that, so I'll fix that for the next time. Welcome everyone again to the Immersive Internet. This is our third episode, and every time we have a studio as a guest showing us different use cases of what you can do nowadays in with immersive experiences. So how do you create immersive experiences for brands? What's the process? How do you translate certain wishes of a brand or an IP to an experience? I'm very happy to have as a guest Nick Kovacic. I'm not sure.
Kovacic. Yeah, it's a complicated last name. No worries.
So you are, if I'm correct, head of partnerships at Exclusible.
Yes, head of product and partnerships.
Cool. So welcome on the show, Nick. Can you tell
Thanks
a
a lot.
little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and then good morning or good afternoon or good evening, everyone. So I'm Nick. I manage everything when it comes to product and partnerships at Exclusible since over 2 years right now. We'll talk about a bit more in depth about Exclusible, but first, who I am. Essentially, at Exclusible, I manage everything when it comes. We have some light tech product related to some gaming platforms. So Blocks Metrics is one of our platforms that maybe we'll use later on as well. I manage everything when it comes to partnerships with our UGC creators, other studios when it comes to Roblox developers, and also a lot on the commercial side, or a small commercial team. So I manage everything commercially as well. So interactions with clients, partners, licensees, etc. My background is between brands and tech, the intersection of the two. Before Exclusible, I used to work at Montblanc, which was a luxury brand part of the Richemont Group. Before that, I worked at a tech company. I've been within digital innovation. Even at Montblanc, I was in the new tech department. So I come from brands, tech as well, which is also kind of the background of our entire team. I'm Italian from Rome, Italy, but currently based in Miami, Florida. And yeah, thanks for having me, Daniel.
Yeah, nice to have you on the show. So, of course, with the Metaverse, a big wave started end of 2021, with Facebook rebranding to Meta. Then I think, in 2022, there was quite a lot of hype, a lot of events, a lot of expectations. I think around end of 2022, people expected too much, and then the whole enthusiasm around it went quite steep, away. So, and I think it's interesting, players still active in the space, and to see what are the solutions right now. I'm very enthusiastic about the whole Ready Player One idea, just
Of course.
goggles and the haptic suit and to have this fully immersive experiences. But I think it will take some time before we get there, and that's why I also started this show, the Immersive Internet, to see how can you build awesome experiences and make, that are commercially viable, basically, right? So
Yeah.
how can you help others? How can you help brands, with a solution right now? And it's interesting you said that as well. Roblox. You mentioned. Well, we're gonna go into this in a bit as well. But that Exclusible also has a platform for this for collaborations with creators and seeing metrics. And well, it's interesting to dive into that right now. I'm gonna see a little bit. Let me see on LinkedIn. See some people that are excited to be here. Well, that's awesome. So for all the people that are watching right now, feel free to send in your questions. If you have questions for Nick, so that way we can make it also a really interactive session. All right, so let's dive in right now. I selected a few videos. And you're also going to show people some stuff that you guys have built. So let's get into the first use case. All right, so this is the first thing that struck me. I've tried it yesterday as well. The experience you guys built for Hugo Boss, I think a year ago or so. On spatial, and I believe this is the first time you guys have used AI tools to speed up the process of creating this experience. Is that
indeed? Yeah, that is correct. And I'm glad you mentioned this because it kind of represents a bit of the evolution that our company has had. So this was back, last year, and our focus was much more onto immersive, beautiful high-end experiences for brands. Right. And this one is particularly one that stands out, not just in terms of the visual aspect of it, because it's a beautiful experience, it's extremely functional. It wasn't spatial, which was a platform that we really worked a lot with, especially in the past 2 years. But indeed, the brand asked us to do something in quite an exceptional amount of time. So a very quick development time. And we essentially
So how did it went? So there was this fashion event, and pretty short time before the event happened, they were like, okay, we need also a virtual experience.
Correct. So the experience was tied to a physical fashion event, and they wanted to extend it to the digital world. And we had a very, maybe half the usual amount of time that we have to develop an experience like this to develop it. And we were very clear with the brand saying we're going to use AI as much as we can. And this was the beginning of AI tools. I mean, today we use them on a daily basis. They're much more advanced than they were at the time, even what you see here. But we were already getting into very high-end visuals, especially with Midjourney at the time. And we decided to make it a challenge for ourselves to use AI more. And we have an extremely talented team with the Polycount team, which is our closest studio when it comes to this. Our head of production internally as well was very involved into making sure that everything looked amazing and was aligned with the brand. And so we exceptionally made this experience in a very short amount of time, using, as you see from the video, a lot of AI images to especially iterate on the creative side of things. Today, AI we even use it in the development side of things when it comes to 3D models, but that's a separate topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one that we're particularly proud of, especially because I mean, right now I'm not sure if it still works entirely because it's been over a year. But once you were able to complete a small mini game inside it, so there was already the gaming mechanic into it. Collect all these spheres that you see here, and once you've collected all the spheres, you would receive a digital item that was tied to Ready Player Me. Essentially, you would be able to use it in different environments. So yeah, amazing experience already with a hint of gamification, which today is kind of where we're all going. So a really good start to show what we have done in the past.
Yeah, really cool. I love how the space looks. It looks very futuristic.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it's really zen as well. With the sea and all that. So,
and it was also VR accessible. So with the platform being spatial being accessible in VR, I've done a TED talk over a year ago right now, and it was very interesting because I got one person in VR entering the space in front of an entire audience, and the rest of the audience entering through mobile. It really felt like that kind of Ready Player One moment that you were saying, Daniel. We were not there yet, but I love the idea that somebody was in VR and all the rest with their phones kind of interacting within the experience and doing the mini game and seeing each other in the space, right?
So you did the TEDx talk in
It was
VR?
it was a TEDx seminar about the metaverse in Milan,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I was teaching everybody about what was upcoming, and this was the experience that we just launched at the time. And I got a Quest. The time was a Quest 2, and one person could come in. Actually, multiple person tried it. They could come there and test. First the Quest for their time for the first time for most of them, and then
Yeah.
test this experience in VR. So it was very successful, functioned perfectly. So I was very happy about that.
Really cool. And you mentioned, people go into this world. There are a few collectibles, so that's also a nice way, to go around the world, see everything. You're very that makes you really want to check out the whole space. And then you can collect like an outfit for your avatar.
Correct. Yes.
And my question here is, it's beautiful. Even in VR, it's even more awesome. But what's the ROI? Like, what did this accomplish for the event Hugo Boss was hosting?
It's a very good question. So expectations from the brand were very low for this, and we exceeded them by a ton. So I think at the end we got about 100,000 visits, which on spatial at the time was very impressive. And it's the problem with these type of experiences, especially on platforms that are more functional like spatial. This is that you have to bring the audience into it. Pretty much, there's a very little audience still, right? And so you have to invest in marketing to make sure that through your traditional channels, people come and visit the experience. So it's a bit tricky. We were very surprised about the amount of positive feedback that we got and the amount of people that actually visited it, right? Because it's a platform that doesn't even have that audience itself.
Yeah.
When it comes to the ROI, the brand really just expected a kind of a promotional or brand ROI, right? Which is different from what we're going to discuss later on with Roblox, where there's an actual commercial component to it. But one other cool thing is that you could go into the space and be, as you see here, redirected to an e-commerce page related to the different items that you saw. So we created the entire items in 3D, or a part of the collection in 3D, and then you could go back into their e-commerce and check things out. So they got some traffic on their e-commerce. They got 100,000 visits from a brand standpoint. It exceeded by far all their expectations. So we were very happy. The brand was very happy. But the numbers that you see here cannot compare to the platform that we work on today. It's a matter of fact, when you work on platforms like Roblox that have over 230 million monthly active users, you tend to get bigger numbers in an easier way.
Yeah. So the 100,000 visits, that was to the spatial environment, right? And
yes.
You mentioned like there's also, you need to use traditional channels to get people in that space. So how did you advertise this? Did you make like videos, and did you share it, like join this Hugo Boss
we had multiple trailers that were made through the experience, which is good thing about when you build a 3D environment is that then making promotional content ends up being much easier than what you would do in real life, right? Sometimes a trailer for a campaign like this would cost itself, the amount that the brand ended up paying just to build this experience, right? So it's something that it's very interesting. All these videos that you see here were just made by fly through within the experience or trying out the experience. So we create trailers, and these were promoted by the brand. They were promoted by Exclusible. In addition to that, the experience was going very viral in the first days because it was still the first days of brand experiences, especially on spatial. So it was constantly at the top of the spatial platform. So you would enter the spatial platform, even if you didn't know Boss or didn't know the experience, you would see it always there at the top. The algorithm picked it up quite well, and it was extremely successful. I don't think we have done any other particular marketing campaign when it comes to ads, just other than sharing them on social media. I don't remember precisely, but it was very successful for the amount of effort that was put into it.
Nice. Really cool. And it's also interesting you mentioned this is a world you can explore, and now you see a lot of traction in these gaming worlds, where it's more like a game you play. Also interesting to note that spatial itself has also moved from like a metaverse platform, or at least how they communicate themselves as a metaverse platform, to more like a UGC gaming hub. So that's also interesting. So I think with the LinkedIn group, we did a lot of meetups and events, roundtables, explorations, presentations, all that kind of stuff. But I think it's very early for that. It's very niche to do those kinds of meetups. So it's really the tech enthusiasts. But yeah. So yeah. On that note, let's go to the next one, because this is on Roblox. So yeah, what am I seeing here, Nick?
You're seeing a beautiful experience. It's an experience that was led by Polygon, which is one of our closest studios, and which it was very much independently led by them. But I love to show it because it really shows a couple important things about Roblox. So if you're not new to Roblox, we're going to talk about it a bit more, but it's the biggest gaming platform worldwide when it comes to an audience standpoint. Fortnite is very much on the same level, so it's they kind of challenge each other. But we're talking about 230 million monthly active users, over 70 million daily active users. When I present, I like to consider think it as a country per se, right? 70 million people every day coming onto the platform. Very young people.
70?
70 million, right? 70 million every day, and 230 every month, right? So it's an immense platform with a very, very, very varied audience. This experience was made by Polygon for Sour Patch Kids, which is part of the Mondelez group. Polygon is a studio that comes from very high-end, high-fidelity experiences. They're extremely talented, and you can see already within this experience the attention to detail, how beautiful the experience it is, how advanced it is from a gameplay standpoint. It was an experience that we did for 2 weeks before Halloween, and you see it's Halloween theme, is all trick or treating, and it's around the Sour Patch Kids brand, which, if you know, it's a very famous candy brand in the US. And it was extremely popular given the amount of effort that was put into. Even here, we had a time crunch. We had to develop it by Halloween, so it was quite challenging. But still, the world was very large, very beautiful. We had so much positive feedback from the Roblox community, from brands, from other tech enthusiasts as well, on how good it looked.
That's also interesting. On Roblox, you get ratings, right? So
yes, and that's actually very important. You see it. We can talk about some good and positive and bad examples on rating, but it's something extremely important. And we got very good ratings for this one, just because of how nicely made was the game. Very small bugs, very not many issues for players. Simple gameplay, very clear. And ultimately a lot of rewards. 11,000 items were distributed for free and all fully claimed within literally days. We would just put them out there and immediately were claimed by doing quests on the experience. 200,000 visits in about 2 weeks with absolutely no marketing commitment whatsoever.
Crazy.
I think about $100 maybe per day of ads because we were testing things out, but it's really, really nothing for literally like 2 weeks. So really just leveraging the power of the Roblox audience. If you do a great game, if you put in a brand in the proper way, you'll get extremely high amounts of numbers. And this was, again, just in 2 weeks, right? So the brand is so happy that I'm sure there's going to be more to come using this environment. But yeah, an extremely nice experience. And I like to show it because, again, visually is what I would expect a brand to do on Roblox, right? Roblox can go all the way from a very blocky style all the way into a realistic, fully realistic style. And that's something that not everybody knows when it comes to the visual of the platform.
Yeah, that's interesting. I tried it out the last few days as well, and there's also this Roblox studio. You can start building with it, and look pretty good. I was thinking like in my mind it was Roblox was like a blocky game, but the graphics are pretty nice actually.
It's very advanced. Our team was when we started working on it back 1.5 years ago. The first feeling that our team had was that the Roblox Studio is so much more advanced than people think it is. You can do things that you would not expect. The reason why you've seen for the past 10 years very blocky experiences is that because the creators are 14, 15, 16 years old kids with not previous 3D background. Extremely talented people. We work with very young guys that are so talented, and sometimes they come up with ideas and creative content. I'm just so amazed. But they don't have a 3D background, right? So when it comes to building on a 3D engine, of course, they cut corners where they can. They do what they're most of them are self-taught, right? But when you put a team with over 20 years of experience in 3D across Unity, Unreal Engine 5, etc., to build on Roblox Studio, it suddenly becomes a lot easier to create something that it's stunning and functional at the same time.
Nice. I see a question from Bookie Amsterdam. I'm not sure if it was for the last, but maybe you can answer for both
Yeah,
experiences. Um,
yeah. I think it was for the last.
yeah. How long did it take you to build the last one? Yeah.
On the Hugo Boss experience, I don't remember precisely the timeline right now, but it was a few weeks, if not like maybe a couple, maybe up to 2 months. I don't remember much, but a very, very short amount of time. That's what I remember. I remember the excitement, but also the challenge from a team standpoint. For Sour Patch Kids, it was, if I'm not mistaken, because again, it was fully developed by Polycount, but it was about 2 months or so. They had an initial model that presented to the brand before the brand even said okay. But it's always challenging when you work with brands, right? To make sure that everything is done in the right amount of time. So it's more about the back and forth with the brand itself in a lot of cases than actually building the experience itself. But even here, yeah, just a very short amount of time. Considering that what we usually tend to say to our clients and the games that we have in development right now is that an average time to develop a Roblox game is about 4 months, 3 to 4 months. That's
Okay.
the average. It can go all the way
Yeah.
to up to 6 months and all the way down to 2 months as we did for this. It's not normal to do it in 2 months. We really try to like challenge ourselves and really wanted to do this experience.
Yeah.
But this is an experience that normally would take 3 to 4 months from a size, from a component, from a detail standpoint, and from a gameplay standpoint. That's usually what it would take.
Interesting. And I see in this video, I see a lot of jumping. I also see people flying, not getting into like toxic stuff. So
Yeah.
how do you create this? Like, how do you come up with, of course there's a Halloween theme, and but how do you come up with these gameplay mechanics? So that's like that's expertise from Polycount maybe, or also Exclusible.
It's a very valid question. Polycount, it's an extremely talented team when it comes to 3D, and now they have also the support of Roblox native people, as we do at Exclusible. We just hired a superstar as our lead programmer. He's worked on games with over 750 million visits, and we did the same on the 3D side. Now we have a UGC designer that's done over 2.5 million sales on the platform, right? So our philosophy internally, and everybody does it in a kind of a different way, but at least our philosophy is to work with try to achieve the highest quality of 3D that we can, no matter what the game is, no matter what the brand is, no matter what the partner is. But at the same time, work with native Roblox developers. And what does that mean? When I say native, I mean guys who have grown on this platform, right? So people that really have the roots in Roblox, that they don't just develop on Roblox, but they play it and they're part of the Roblox community, because they know better than anybody else, better than myself, better than anybody in my team, what works and what doesn't work on the platform. And it's a mistake that a lot of brands tend to do. When you see a brand doing extremely bad on Roblox, it's probably because they didn't work with somebody who was native to the platform. You need to know what gameplay you're putting in place. You need to make sure that the games are functional on mobile, tablet, desktop, now VR as well, right? Sometimes brands tend to overcomplicate and do things in a way that it's not Roblox, coherent. Put it this way. There's very specific genres on Roblox, right? So there's obbies, which are obstacle courses. There's tycoons. There's simulators. There's story or quests. There's many other genres, but they're quite limited, right? That those are the ones that work. Those are the ones that people are used to. So what you can do is work on those genres and maybe adding a twist to it. So this is what we've done for the Polygon for this experience, is what we're doing for every experience that we have right now in the making. And you need to kind of adhere to these if you want to have success from a metrics and on a ROI standpoint, right? So you can be creative, you can add twists, but not go too far from what works on the platform, because it's what users expect, right? And each genre has its own audience. So if you want to target the younger audience, you would go for a certain genre, maybe obby, which is kind of up to everybody, maybe tycoons, or for younger people. If you want to target an older audience on Roblox, and remember that Roblox spans all the way from 8 to 25 when it comes to age.
25.
If you want to target an older audience, maybe you would go with a first-person shooter or something like this, or a different game that maybe it's more realistic, even visual-wise, right? If you want to target a younger audience, you go much more cartoony, much more simplest, much more low poly. If you want to target an older audience, that's when you have to go a bit more realistic, a bit more attention to detail and everything, right? So for this experience, for example, the brand didn't want anybody below 13, so we had to gate it above 13, which made it even more complicated from an ROI standpoint. We got even 200,000 visits with the platform being only with the experience being only 13 plus, which is cutting half of the Roblox
No.
user base. And we got pretty much, if I'm not wrong about the numbers, something around 80% of the users above 17, right? Which was very surprising even from a brand standpoint. We were talking about a candy brand, a young brand, although it has some appeal even to the older audience. But 17 plus on Roblox is quite niche. We're talking about I think about 25, 26, or 30% of the audience being 17 plus, and most of our visitors were 17 plus, just because the quality of the game is good. The gameplay was very appealing to everybody, and it worked well.
So, creating a fun game is one thing. Getting people into the experience, that's another thing, right? So, what do you do? I've heard you saying something about UGC items that people got while being in the space. Can you tell us a little bit more about how to get people in this experience?
Yes, indeed. So for every game that we develop right now, we always advise to put at least 50% to 100% of the development budget of the game into marketing as well. So if you're spending 50,000 or 100,000 on developing a game, you should spend an equivalent amount on marketing, or at least 50% of that amount on marketing, depending on who you are from a brand standpoint. Why am I saying this? Is because people tend to think there are experiences like Sour Patch Kids where we put no marketing and still did extremely well. But if we did put more marketing budget towards this experience, it would have done even better. We could have got easily to millions of users in a very short amount of time, right? And this is important to understand because Roblox is a gigantic platform, or even a very saturated platform. There's 5 million creators creating experiences on a daily basis, right? So it's quite tricky to get people on the platform itself. And there's different ways. The first one is first of all, forget about any classic marketing traditional channels, press releases, social media. These tend not to work. That's a matter of fact. When you see brands doing a big press release and announcing on social media, it's a good to have if you want to showcase your experience, but it's not what it's going to bring users onto your platform. First of all, out of platform is influencers. Influencers are just about gaming, and some of them just about Roblox. YouTube, Discord, TikTok, sometimes Twitter a bit. Using these influencers to bring eyes onto your game usually tends to work. The second thing is ads. Roblox has a very not quite complex ad system. Just like you would have an ad system on Instagram, Facebook, right? Any other social media channels, you pay ads and you get experience. You get people onto your game through ads. Some brands have done it extremely well. If you see Elf, Elf is the beauty of the cosmetic game. Has a very successful experience, done very well, and they use ads in a very proper. I mean, whenever I go into the platform, they're always advertised among the first 2-3 lines of the experience that I'm looking at, and this is great because then you get users to jump onto your game. You don't get them though if you're not smart about the details of your thumbnail, of your title, of your description. These are very small things that we've done very well in Sour Patch Kids that bring people onto your experience. So for example, Alphab always has on their thumbnail free UGC. What does it mean? That if you get into the experience and you do a certain amount of things, you will get a free item. Great way to attract the audience attention and drive them into the experience now that you have you're advertising to them. So very small little things that work very well, but marketing on Roblox is its own thing. It's not like a traditional marketing channel whatsoever. There's other things that you can do, like portals, going through other experiences, right? Other experiences can put portals within their games, and we're talking about games that have a lot of traffic, and then drive traffic to
portals.
Experience portals, yeah, they're just like you teleport people from one game to the other, and the game that has the portal within their game gets a percentage, or they get a certain amount of revenue based on the people that actually get teleported from their game to yours. So you need to know what works and what doesn't work. But ultimately, UGC has been a big driver for a long time. People were just giving out free UGC to get people onto their game. It became suddenly much more complicated about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now releasing UGC is 5 times more expensive than it was before. So now brands are
releasing a what? What?
Releasing UGC, which is this UGC and Roblox are essentially digital accessories, right? And when you think of UGC on other platforms, it's kind of more varied, but this is just on Roblox particularly means digital accessories. It suddenly became 5 times more expensive to release one item. I think
the costs for how do you mean, like paying a creator?
There's a publishing cost on the platform. So whenever I'm not talking about the cost of developing now it's for everyone. Before it was limited to a certain amount of people. Now they just made it public, but they increased the cost by a lot. think the reason why Roblox is doing that is because they want people to go more towards ads to advertise their games rather than releasing UGC. Smart, because they're becoming an ad company. That's their whole, at least, focus for 2024.
Yeah, I saw
So
something
it's
like that. Yeah,
so,
so it's
so
like
a lot is changing.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's billboard, it's portals. There's different ways you can do ads. Now they're also video ads. Before they used to be just static. So they're pushing a lot on this, and they want to make sure the brands use this to get people onto their experiences, onto their e-commerce channels, onto everything. So just use ads as a normal channel in addition to the existing ones. Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I get a question from Pookie here. So how many repeat visitors at Sour Hollows? In other words, was it sticky? Did folks return to it again?
It's a super good question, because of course it's a bit hard to calculate, being the experience open only for 2 weeks. But we had extremely good amount of repeat visitors whenever we released the free UGC. So we released free UGC, I think, like about every 2-3 days, because it was like a 2-week experience. And we saw that whenever we were releasing new free UGC, there were spikes of returning visitors that would see, an announcement on the Roblox channel, or see that something was changing in the experience. So yeah, the experience itself was very sticky, and that's why I'm saying that if we invested more from a marketing standpoint, or at least if the brand decided to do more on that, it would have easily boomed over 1 million visits, right? So because it's people like the game itself, it was a great game. Other than that, so that's the important thing, right? From a brand standpoint, you need to create a game that it's a game first and foremost. That it's a game that people will come and play, even if your brand was not there, and then put your brand naturally within the game. So even if you see on Sour Patch Kids, not a lot of flashy advertisements, right? Not a lot of logos all over the place other than in the loading screen.
Yeah.
And adding the characters in a very nice, fun way, right? At a certain point, you become one of them. You see the characters around, but it's not too pushy.
Yeah,
Even the
very
name
organic.
itself, it's very organic. You're putting the brand in a very organic way into it. Even the name is not Sour Patch Kids; it's Sour Hollows, right? It's a bit more, in line. So it's a game that it's not per se.
I don't know, like a creepy vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a creepy vibe to the Halloween thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's important. And we've seen brands doing so bad on this. I mean, I can give an example. Recently, Netflix launched a huge experience on Roblox, integrating all their IPs into Roblox. Big move. They released this world called Next World, and in my opinion, it's one of the biggest failures that have happened on the platform so far. Everybody was so excited about it, and maybe it's early to say. Maybe they're going to improve it and stuff. But I've been playing it. The rating is about 35% right now, which is one of the lowest I've seen from a brand standpoint. With the amount of sorry,
it's called, how's it called, the experience?
Next World. Next
World.
I think it's called Next World. Yes. An immense experience, huge world, putting all their IPs, and they have such strong IPs. We're talking about Ladybug. We're talking about One Piece.
Yeah.
Extremely powerful IPs that each could have been a very successful game itself, put all together in a bit of a messy way. The world itself is very nice. There's some components that are really cool, and from an animation standpoint, from a UI standpoint, but it's just very confusing as a game. It's not really a game; it's an experience, and that's the biggest mistake that a brand can do in it.
So maybe they could have choose to do it per IP, like a game for One Piece, a game for Ladybug.
Yeah, which is what they were doing before, very successfully. So they were doing Stranger Things on it, released an experience before every new season, I think, or something. And Stranger Things, I think, accumulated about 43 million visits. Oh, maybe the most successful one accumulated 43 million visits. Only for Stranger Things. People loved it. People wanted to come back to it. People were waiting for the next one. Very clear gameplay. And now they've done something that is just huge and not a game. An experience where you go inside and you kind of have to follow through the entire thing, but it's not a game that I would come back to it once I've played it a little bit. Too big, too confusing, not very clear. All the IPs meshed together is not something that tends to work on the platform. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so when we're talking about like results, I think it's interesting to talk about what you guys at Exclusible have built. Also, what you mentioned before, or what you mentioned to me, is not only do you create games on Roblox, but there's also integrations with existing games, collaborations with UGC creators, collaborations with influencers, Roblox influencers. So yeah, that's a lot. So it's fair to say that the main focus of or the main thing that you guys are focusing on is really Roblox. compared to other platforms like Spatial or other solutions?
Yeah, 95% of our business today is on Roblox, at 100%. It's what we're pitching to brands all the time. We still have experience, projects on other platforms just are coming from our past. But really, where we see the biggest ROI when it comes from a brand to be in an immersive space, it's Roblox is also, I want to say, the closest to this idea of an interconnected metaverse, right? Ultimately that's what it is. It's multiple experiences connected with each other. People can jump from one to the other. This portable accessories throughout experiences, right? So it's the closest thing that we can think of towards a kind of ideal metaverse, and it's
Yep.
gaming based. It's a platform where I can go to a brand and ensure a certain amount of visits, or at least ensure that we're going to get to a certain success because I know how to do it. I know how to get to certain numbers. I know to get a certain monetization. I'm not saying that every experience will be a success. It's not the case. That's nowhere in the world like this. But it's very clear how to have a success on the platform. And as you said, there's different ways of doing it. One is building your entire game. Currently, we're building 7 games. So unfortunately, I cannot disclose all of them. But it's all the way from a very famous museum to a very famous young IP or one of the top influencers in the world creating games. So you're seeing pretty much brands from every direction coming onto the platform because it's just a new channel for them. Just our Instagram, or I always tend to say think of Instagram 15 years ago or 10 years ago, right? I think of TikTok 5 years ago. Roblox is it's where the young people are today. Right, so that's why brands are seeing it just as a new channel, pretty much. Roblox is also very much a social platform, right? Think of it as not just a gaming platform, but at the intersection of the two. When you open it up, actually, let me open it up because I love showing it. Sometimes people haven't even opened it.
Let me see. I'm
screen.
gonna put it online. Yeah.
Okay,
so
awesome.
It's interesting you just mentioned this, like the social part, not just the game, because Helena is asking, but isn't there also an audience that wants a nice environment where to socialize rather than a game?
Indeed. The problem is sometimes this is taken to the highest extent, and environments are just to socialize, which is not enough. Ultimately, people come here, yes, to socialize, but they want a game. Game is the core, part of the game. So socialization is super important. Roblox is at the intersection of social and gaming, but it's at the intersection of two, meaning that you have to have both, right? If an experience it's boring, people won't come back. They will maybe be in it for a while. They won't come back to it. People are there to socialize through gaming and not just to socialize, which is
interesting. So when I was younger, I was on this, but of course, MSN. I'm not sure if you heard it.
Yeah, no, I know it.
Like when I was 12 or something, people were on MSN socializing. So how does the socializing? So our friends like calling each other or texting each other, like let's meet up in this off-roading epic or the best basketball legends, like the thing you're
essentially showing. What I can do is I can go into any game and invite my friends. So I send them a message, invite them if I see that they're online, come in to play with me. We play together. So you see, the socialization is about a game, is about doing something together. Of course, there's also messages. So this is messaging. I can text message to my friends. We can make groups together, right? For example, Exclusible, we have to check it out here. We have our own group. I think I'm gonna check it through the app. To do it through the website. Just give me a second. So this is the Exclusible group right now. We launched it very recently. We have 2,000 people within the group. This is where we release our UGC. So it's very, there's groups, there's messages, there's your avatar. Let me show you how it works now. My avatar is kind of funny. It's a mantis with a head. It's a very creative one, right? And these are all items that you can find on the marketplace. So socialization, customization, it's all key to it. Imagine on the marketplace, there's 3.3 billion transactions every year, right? It's an economy per se, and that's how a lot of people just make money on Roblox. It's just by selling digital items without even having a game. So customization, the way you look, on the platform, the way you represent yourself to others, the way you interact with others, super important. But it's not just a social media, right? And that's one of the biggest issues. You cannot just create a place, where people just hang out. There has to be a reason to do so. Otherwise, people will go and do something more fun, and they can still hang out with their friends and something more fun. So it's really the intersection of the two, and understanding the social component.
Is there voice chat in it? Is there voice chat? Can I talk?
Voice chat is a new thing that they introduced. There's voice chat now in games, and there's also an experience made by Roblox where you can just call your friends, so it can act like a phone, pretty much. I think it's called voice. I'm sure it's actually voice chat. No, this is not, I forget the name of it, but see, there's a lot of experience that are just about voice chatting. So Neighbor is an experience that it's very much social, but at the same time, it's a game, right? So it's you want to make it a game and make it fun. So it's very interesting the way it's developing. It was initially just gaming, turned into social. Now it's becoming a proper platform that has all the social components that you expect from either the social media, which is immersive ads, which is socialization, which is now e-commerce integration, as we've seen with Walmart, right? So it's really much growing into the social component, but still staying a core gaming platform. At its core, it's a gaming platform.
Interesting.
And
So,
as I was saying,
yeah,
sorry,
go
just to
ahead.
conclude on this data, as I was saying, one thing you can do is build an entire game. So you see this, for example, as a SpongeBob game. If you look at the Gucci experience, which we always show as a good example of, you see this is Gucci Town, the experience, but now I think over 49 million visits,
Whoa.
constantly updated with new things. Right, you can see the rating. That's another social part of it. People can vote, and this has a 77% rating, which is not bad. Could be better, right? Here you see other similar experiences. Sunsilk, one of the most popular brands in the platform, 58 million visits, so done very well. Sheen, these are all brands, right? All branded experiences, 80% of votes, 15 million visits. You can see the active users, which here are pretty low on this experience. And so you can either build a game like this, or you can integrate, as you were saying before. So that's another thing that we do with some of our partners right now. I want to show you. It's a platform that we're gonna. It's a platform now. It's in beta. It's closed. It's just for our clients to see. But it's a platform where we show. Or we have, I think right now, over 39 gaming partners, which have very, very successful games. I can open up an example here. Super Fun Obby is just an obstacle course developed by Banana Studios, which is arguably the most successful studios when it comes to obstacle courses. And you as a brand, what can you do? You can go into this experience, pay a certain fee per month. It usually goes from 25,000 to 75,000. It's more or less the number. And sometimes it's below that, sometimes it's above that. And you can get insured visits, right? So what you do is you do a pop-up store or a simple mini game within the experience branded, or a simple level. There's different types of integration that they last from 2 to 4 weeks. And what you do is, this experience has 4.6 million monthly active users. Only the experience itself, right? Only this game itself. 450,000 daily active users. So if you integrate, let's say for a month, you're going to get 4.6 million eyeballs onto your brand, no matter what, right? So it's a bit of the less risky play, is what a lot of brands tend to do as their first step into Roblox before launching their entire game. And it's very smart because you get the analytics from these experiences and you know exactly who you're targeting. So here you know that it's a more female-related experience, 55 to 45, but pretty much balanced. You know that people tend to spend 11 minutes into it on average, and you know that 47% of the users are 13 plus, which means that 53% are below 13.
And
so
these are metrics you get from Roblox, or is
the top ones are metrics that we get from Roblox.
Yeah.
The bottom ones are metrics that are given by they're given by our partner that shares this with us, and you can see also the top countries. Usually, I don't think we have them for in this case. But they gave you very good metrics because of course they want to make sure that you can integrate into it. And we love Banana Studios. We have so many other partners that and they're all very open to game integrations because of course it's a way for them to get brands into the experience, which is great, and also monetize a bit more than what they already do on the platform. If you want to look at metrics as a whole, we have a platform called Blocks Metrics. It's a free, open to anybody platform, which we track thousands of experiences, not all the entire experiences on Roblox. You can go in here. It's currently in the works right now, so you see some fonts are kind of wrong and everything because we're kind of remaking the UI, but it's available. You can go in here and check all the different numbers for top experiences on Roblox, like Brookhaven with 48 billion visits, right? Or top branded experiences, which right now, for example, Alo Yoga is number one. You see 110 million lifetime visits, 178 concurrent users, 87% rating, and 5 minutes of average session length. You can also filter by how they've done in the last week, how they've done in the last 6 months, or throughout the year, right? So it's very interesting.
A recent spike for some reason.
When you see spikes, this is interesting. But when you see spike, usually it's because they released either a new update or they released a UGC. So you see most of these spikes usually are given by this, right? and you see also the trend. You just have much more users. It's slightly going down, but still keeping at a good pace. This is a very good experience from Alo Yoga.
And Alo Yoga, that's like I'm not familiar with it, but it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle sport lifestyle brand, very famous, particularly in the US. Very similar to Lululemon, if you know their main competitor. Very good experience. It's visually amazing. They have a story in it, so it's an interesting example.
And is that because in my mind, Roblox is more like younger audiences? But you mentioned there's also quite a lot of people around 25 or also old,
Indeed, yeah.
But Alo Yoga, that sounds to me like more like mature audiences, or
yeah,
not.
It's more the mature audience, but the reason why even more mature brands, and I always give the example of Deutsche Telekom. Deutsche Telekom was an experience in Roblox. Fidelity Investments as an experience in Roblox, right? Which is an investment platform. I mean, if you're not 18, you cannot even be on it. But
Okay.
the reason why, and they've done an experience. Actually, I can pull it up. It's called Pancake Tycoon. I think there we go. Pancake Empire Tycoon by Fidelity Investment. Super smart because you're an investment platform. I'm not really familiar with the brand, but they've done an experience that it's about growing your pancake empire. You start with a little pancake stand, and slowly you turn into a pancake empire. 15 million visits, which is unbelievable when I think from an ROI standpoint compared to the visit that you would get for this audience on any other social platforms. It's just so much higher. 10 minutes of average session length, so users tend to play at least 10 minutes into it. Very good rating, right? And it's an experience that you see. I like it because it's not just flashy brand. It's about building your pancake empire, and Fidelity is teaching you how to do this, right?
Yep.
By investing in the right way. So you're placing your brand in a very smart way within it, and it's what usually tends to work the best. You see that actually Netflix that world now in the next world is actually going up pretty high. So that's interesting. The average rating is still 48%. So it's still pretty low from rating standpoint, but I have 1.3 million visits. Anyway, it's pushed by Roblox, it's pushed by Netflix, so I assume they should already be a much higher number, I would say. But
the Fidelity Investments, for instance, or the Gucci, it's also a luxury brand, right? So I'm just thinking like, okay, if younger audiences go to these, so they associate the Gucci brand with something positive or like cool or relevant. But I can imagine much of these younger audiences don't have the money to buy the
absolutely.
products. So is it something that sticks? Like, what's the ROI there then?
There's two things to consider. The first thing is brands first want to be in front of young eyeballs as much as they can, right? These are their future customers, and they want to make sure that they know their brand from the very beginning, right? And these customers, are very flexible. They don't have preconceived ideas about brands. That's where they're learning about them, and so they want to make sure that they have a positive impact on them from the very beginning. So that's the first reason why even brands are not necessarily related to the audience are on Roblox. The second thing is Roblox is very good at monetization. So if I were a brand, it's the first platform would be into it because you can recoup the investment that you've done on the platform by selling items on the platform. I'm glad you're mentioning Gucci. This is a great example. They sold quite some time ago at this point. I think one of their items was a Gucci bag as an accessory on Roblox that you can wear on. And actually, I can pull it up over here. Let me see.
One thing. Sorry to interrupt you. I see Pookie says 7 concurrent users. That's what's on the Gucci Ancora world.
Yes,
interesting.
Which is not great. I agree with Pookie here. It's not great.
Yeah.
I assume the last update was on April 1st. They're gonna perhaps launch a new update. The problem with experiences, and this is also quite low, right? And I don't know if this is actually very accurate. I think it's a bit higher than this. It's kind of depends on the way you calculate it. But you want to make sure as a brand to make a fun experience. Right now, if you go into the Gucci experience, there's not much to do. So that's one of the tricky parts that brands have done very well. And Vans is an example. For example, we pull up Vans. The Vans game it's a game, right? They have now 242 concurrent users, which is not extremely high, but pretty good as well. And 7.2 million of average session length, 91% rating. These are all stats that kind of align very well. Because it's a game, it's fun. You can come into it at any time and constantly replay. Replayability is something extremely important, and not a lot of brands are getting right. As I said before, the game has to be a fun game, no matter who you are as a brand, no matter what's inside the game. It should be fun, even if your brand was not there. So that's something that not every brand is getting right, I would say. It is not easy, of course. It's not easy. It's kind of the sacred grail of Roblox. But what was I saying on this? Oh yeah, on the marketplace, Gucci has released a bag, and for a very low amount of money. So it's a digital item that you could get for a couple dollars or something. But on Roblox, there's a secondary marketplace, right? And this item was limited in size, so there was just a limited amount of numbers. And at a certain point on the secondary marketplace, it resold for more than what it costed in real life. Talking about a $2,000 plus bag, right? That resold for more than what it costed in real life. So there's extremely good example about UGC. Another example is Forever 21. They have an experience on Roblox. Let me show it up to you. Forever 21. I'm not sure if it's yeah, there we go. Forever 21 Shop City. At a certain point, they released an item. I don't think this was the experience. They have a couple of different ones. Maybe this is a new one. It seems like not very successful one. But they released an item that was a beanie, very simple black beanie that said Forever 21 on it, developed by one of the developers one of the popular developers on the platform. The item sold over 1.5 million units for after taxes, after conversion from Robux to dollars. They made probably around $200,000. That's my estimation. Just I don't
with one UGC item.
With one item that costed them probably 3D wise $50, maybe $100.
It's crazy.
They made over $250,000. The item was so successful that they reproduced it in real life. They reproduced that item and the entire Roblox collection that they made in real life. So it's a great way to test things out.
And they paid like a UGC creator or like a Roblox native to create that, or how did that happen?
I think they worked with I don't remember particularly, but they worked with a UGC creator, and I'll give you some examples here. So these are some of the UGC creators that we work with. Sorry, I have to password get it here because it's a bit confidential. But these are 6 of the creators that we work with. Milkware, actually, this creator here has just joined our team. She has 2.5 million sales on the platform. Here you can see kind of the average prices per item. This we're just talking about. It's just very average.
These are average prices
per item, per cost per item, right? So if you want to develop one item with it, and just a 3D cost, there's no publishing cost whatsoever. But these of course vary from brand to complexity of the item. So you see some of the items that Junosi has made here. Junosi has 8.5 million sales. He's partnered with so many brands. You see here Walmart, Backstreet Boys, Samsung, Forever 21, Beats, Barbie, Tommy Hilfiger. You name it, he's done it.
These are like the new NFTs, right? These are right.
Yeah, well, it's of course they're not blockchain based. It's a bit different, but the economy that it's behind them very much works alike, right? It's based on availability. There's lots of limiteds. You can do unlimiteds. So it's a world of possibilities, but you have to know what works and what doesn't work, even on the UGC side. Give you an example from Adidas. Let me open up here for you. Das on the marketplace. Adidas has done a huge UGC campaign, right? They've done items of every kind. I think they have hundreds of items at this point, all the way from very realistic ones like this Adidas white t-shirt, right? It's just a t-shirt that you can put on, very similar to what they would have in the real life, all the way into crazy creative items like these classic blue blockchain shoes that are going extremely viral. I don't know if I can try it on because my avatar is kind of weird, but let me see if that works. Yeah, it kind of works in a weird way. But they use the box to make them into shoes, right? I think they've done also in real life, but it's very creative and it's going extremely viral. So I mean, look at these shoes. They have 15,000 likes. I like to think about a 3x or a 4x ratio based on the likes when it comes to sales. So they sold about 45,000 items, right?
Wow.
Make the calculation, very worth it when it comes to items. You're getting your brand out there. So the more creative you are, the more successful you're going to be. That's my take on Roblox. They've done an item with this guy called Who's Trade, which I think they've done this as well with, which was a banana.
Oh yeah. So this one is 55 Robux, right? Robux.
Yeah, which is cents. It's maybe it's very, very little. We're talking about a very small amount. These are all microtransactions, right? So we're talking about a platform where everything is very cheap to start. And then if these are limited, and this is not limited, but if this was a limited item, then it could sell for much more on the secondary marketplace.
And how much dollars is that? Like this?
It depends on what kind of a rate you pick. So when you cash out, there's what's called the max rate, which is much lower than what a Robux costs. But if you were to buy a Robux as a normal user, right, you see that 800 Robux are 440 Robux at $5, right? So
Okay.
400 Robux, $5.
Oh, so
You can
that's
make the
really cheap.
calculation.
The
We're talking
the
about
blocks and
I think
keys. Yeah.
$1 more or less, maybe a bit less than that.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So very small. They're all microtransactions, so you have to go with quantity, right? And that's why it's very important. But at the end, if you think about it, you don't have any cost, right? It's a one-off cost
Very
without
easy
getting to publish it,
build.
and then you launch it. I give an example here from our group in which we're releasing. Sorry, I spelled my company wrong. There we go. If you go on the Exclusible store, we have items that we release on a daily basis. We have daily sales coming in from all these items. You see they're cute, fun, interactive items. So, for example, this is an axolot, which is a cute animal that you can place on your head, which I own, of course. I see if this even works with my avatar because I'm changing things with avatars.
And how do you come up
but
with this stuff? How do you come up with axolots or like?
it's a lot of creativity. Or again, our you see, it's kind of like a little pet that you put on your head.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a lot of creativity, and axolot is a very popular in Roblox. This particular animal is a weird little kind of water animal, but it's very popular in Roblox, and you have to know what works and what doesn't work. Again, I wouldn't know at all that axolot was big on Roblox unless you look it up online. But we work with Liz, is our head of UGC. She has 2.5 million sales on the platform. She's the one driving our whole UGC strategy when it comes to brands, when it comes to her own strategy. She knows what works, what doesn't work, and she makes all these items from scratch, right? So she's the creator of all of these, or at least most of these. And you have to know what works and what doesn't work. And we see spikes into our dashboard in terms of sales and stuff. So it's amazing to see how some items do well, some items do less well. We do sometimes campaigns. So we've done a campaign recently with this golden crocodile. If you own the axolot, you could get this for free. So kind of a 2-for-1 campaign, which is very common in the real world. But we had a spike of sales in items. It worked very well. We were just testing things out. So it's very interesting. There's some brands that just do this. They don't launch games. They just release UGC items on the platform.
And how do people find those? Like also with influencers or with?
It's either searching on the platform, so you need to know, for example, naming items the right way and stuff. For example, if I put phone, which is a very key keyword, our phone is number 4, 5, and 6. Even if we're not that big, if it doesn't have a lot of sales, but just because we nailed the keyword, right? There's not a lot of items called just phone, and the other 2 are still done by Milkware, which is our UGC designer, right? So we kind of own the phone keyword at this point. But you need to know how to. It's all about the algorithm. It's what comes up first, and you want to make sure that you come up as fast as you can. And at the same time, as you said, it's TikTokers, influencers, pulling them up. There's videos on YouTube about, if I just pull up YouTube and I look for UGC outfit, you can find millions of videos that are just about creating outfits on Roblox with UGCs, right? And if a YouTuber pulls up one of your items or picks up one of your items to create an outfit, you'll see a spike in sales because people follow these YouTubers and they usually link the items in the description. So you get thousands of sales per day just because somebody has posted them on social media. So it's a mix of both.
Interesting. Wow. It's really really an interesting world. I think it's still
Indeed.
unfamiliar for a lot of people. So looking at the time, let's go to the last one. Really interesting that you've shown all this,
Of course.
all these aspects of Roblox. You mentioned another one, that's Fortnite. Also, can I say it also UGC gaming? I remember from
Yes.
a few years ago it was Battle Royale.
Yeah. And you're right.
But it's evolved into something much more, I think, also more
Indeed.
metaversey or more social.
Correct.
So what do you guys? Yeah, what do you do on Fortnite? Yeah.
So the reel that you see here is a reel by one of our partner studios called Dev House, with which we're building experiences on Fortnite on. Again, most of our business is still on Roblox. We look at Fortnite as an amazing opportunity. It's a platform that has, as you said, it was a closed environment, so nobody could build on it before. And it was their main gameplay was Battle Royale. And it still is in a certain sense. It's still the most played gameplay. But before, if you were a brand, you would have to partner with Epic Games as the creator of Fortnite to launch on Fortnite. It's not the case anymore. Since April 2023, so about a year right now, they've launched what is called UFN, which is their Unreal Engine 5 Fortnite kind of creative platform. Anybody can start building experiences based on their Unreal Engine 5. It's a kind of a twist on Unreal Engine 5. And you can go on the platform now and find any UGC-based experience. Anybody can build it, anybody can launch an experience, and they have kind of they separate Battle Royale and the UFN experiences. They're pushing everything on this. Soon, Battle Royale will become UEFN based, so everything was going to be made into one. Is there still a relatively new ecosystem? So having a success on it, it's quite more complex. It's as you don't have the kind of the recipe of success that you would have on Roblox. The algorithm is still a bit more tricky. How to get people into the experience a bit more tricky, and people still go there mostly for shooting experiences. That's still there's still the top experiences even created by others. But there's so many cool examples already with experiences that are not just shooting, and this is a relatively new thing released since a couple of months. Obstacle courses are starting to become popular. Tycoons are starting to become popular. There's a lot of games ported from Roblox. UFN is the answer of Fortnite to Roblox, opening their ecosystem to everybody, partnering with incredible, now they partner with Lego. You can create experiences based on Lego. Now they're partnering with Disney. There's a recent news that you're going to be able to use official Disney licensed assets to create your experiences, which is an unprecedented move from the biggest IP holder in the world when it comes to young IPs.
So how did it? So I can download Unreal Engine. And then there's like an integration with like a Fortnite SDK, I think.
It's UFN. It's kind of its own thing. So you have to just work directly on UFN, which is a version of Unreal Engine 5 with a bit more limitations and using most of the Fortnite assets. There's certain things that you still can and cannot do. For example, there's limits with vehicles and things like this, limits with weapons and stuff. But a lot is changing. It's the fastest environment ever. Every month they have a new update. They're going to launch soon the marketplace, which is going to eventually be in competition with a huge marketplace that Roblox has when it comes to skins, etc. It's an interesting platform for brands. Why? It's because their audience is a bit older than Roblox. We're talking about 18 to 35, 18 to 25 is kind of their main thing. So an audience that is a bit more ready to purchase when it comes to the real world. So that's why a lot of brands are jumping into it, even though the numbers are nowhere close to Roblox yet when it comes to brand experiences. The only problem is that it's mostly male, right? So female brands are still struggling on it. 95% male still, changing a lot still. But it's so we're testing on it.
It's interesting because I know from a few years back there was this concert. I don't remember this huge rapper and also some other Ariana Grande did like a concert that was also on Roblox or
Billie Eilish recently. There's now they're gonna do, I think, I don't know if Kiss or I think it's Kiss or a very big group. They're amazing, but those are all partnerships that are created by Epic Games, right? So in the initial concert,
they try to get more women on the platform, maybe, or more.
Yes. They're trying, but until as far as the main gameplay will still be shooting based, it will be a bit more hard. But again, this is changing super rapidly and expect to change. And that's why we're building our experiences on it, because we want to test things out. For brands, it's a bit more tricky still. We've seen a lot of brands trying things on it and doing absolutely bad. Thousands of visits, nothing interesting.
Okay. And so the thing is, people go on Fortnite for shooting games, or that's the main attraction?
That has been the most popular until January 2024. Now we're starting to see tycoons, obbies, and things that you weren't expecting on it yet. And finally, I'm saying finally because that's what a brand needs. A brand doesn't want to do a shooting game in most cases, right? Violence is not usually in there. Although it's not very violent, there's no blood or anything, right? But it's still shooting, right? So it's something that brands don't usually align that much with. So brands were releasing experiences based on running and driving and stuff, and they were not doing good. Now it's changing a lot. It's changing a lot because a wider variety of games is coming onto the platform. Fortnite itself is pushing new genres to make sure that it becomes a bit more varied, just like Roblox is. Costs are going down in terms of developing experiences, and there's some brands that's starting to have good success. I give you an example. TurboTax. I don't know if you know TurboTax is a tax software in the US. A brand that is arguably quite
creating an immersive experience.
It's a brand that you not expect on Fortnite. And they've done a tycoon on Fortnite to build where you have to build I think was a mansions or real estate kind of a related tycoon, where then at a certain point you use the tax software to calculate the taxes that you owe to the government within the experience. Extremely successful when they launched it. I don't think it's as successful as of now, but they had over 8,000 concurrent users at a certain point.
Wow.
Which means thousands, if not millions, of users on a daily basis. Extremely successful, and also very well monetizing. remember Fortnite monetizes only based on visits right now. There's no marketplace, there's no UGC, so you get a payout from Epic Games based on how much visits you get, and that can be very good in some cases.
So if you get a lot of visits, then you get it. So it's like, for instance, on YouTube, if you get like a viral video, you get ads.
You're paid per visits, or paid per engagement, basically. We had an experience with over 300,000 visits, which is one of the ones that you see here in the reel.
Yeah,
and they've got a good payout based on the visits. So it's a bit more tricky, right? I wouldn't say it's the best place to monetize right now. Roblox it's far ahead of it, but per visit monetizes much more than what Roblox does. So that's changing a lot too.
Interesting. So these two examples, of course, the example before was spatial, and then last Roblox and this Fortnite. Especially the last two, it seems to be, it's there. It's like in game ecosystem, or it's there. So do you see this? Of course, with the metaverse, it's much more beyond. Or that's like going from Roblox to Fortnite to spatial or other platforms.
To me, it's clear right now that at least the inception of what we think as the metaverse will be initially gaming based. They showed a lot of brands had on other platforms that people were coming onto it, and what do you do in the experience, right? Other than engaging or interacting with other people, it's always kind of tricky, right? So I really think that gaming will be the base of what we think that the metaverse is going to be, and just as it is on what you were saying, Ready Player One, ultimately it's an actual game, right? If you think of that experience that everybody kind of looks forward to, it's a game. And Fortnite and Roblox are the closest you can get to what we think of the metaverse right now. Especially now that Roblox is in VR as well. Of course, the VR component is important to what we think
I tried it, I think a year ago, but it made me very nauseous at that time.
It's still very much in its infancy, but now a lot of experiences are much better. Some of the ones that we're building also are VR accessible, and it's better. It's getting better. We're not there yet, but when it comes to the ecosystem of multiple worlds connected with each other, where you can trade items among, you can socialize, you can talk, you can trade items, you can bring items from an Adidas shoes in the Adidas experience all the way into the Sunsilk experience, all the way into a very popular game. There's no other platform right now in the world that does this, that it's not Roblox. And Fortnite is going into that direction as well. So it is the closest thing you get to the metaverse, and is the closest thing to get something that is successfully, commercially, promotionally. Nowhere else you get the ROI that you get by investing on Roblox. Not on social media, not on gaming. It's impossible today. On that audience, of course.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's interesting. So this is like where we are right now. Of course, with the metaverse, but that's a different discussion. I think for a lot of people, the starting point was Second Life, but that's like, almost 20 years ago. So it's really interesting where we are right now. I think you gave a really nice peek into that. What's commercially viable right now. Because I think a lot of people were thinking too much in the future, and then got a
bit ahead of themselves in terms of what works as the word. At the end, an experience is not experience if you don't have people in it.
And then the next tech thing, AI. Got a lot of hype, so then everyone forgot about the metaverse. So last question, what about the metaverse and business? To me, it seems that there is 3D internet for business that's also coming soon. It's correcting me, like Second Life is not 20 years ago, but since 20 years. Okay, I think that's a fair point.
That's a good point. In terms of metaverse for business, Roblox gaming is a bit separate from that. Metaverse for business is a different use case. Or using, especially saying metaverse for business to me is a bit of a stretch. I would rather say VR for business, right? Metaverse ultimately has a social component to it that doesn't necessarily align too much with business. Using VR for enterprise use cases, business,
for training,
platforms like for training and stuff are still very much the future. I've been to a lot of conferences recently this year, which have seen incredible experiences. I know brands that have their entire supply chain based on VR. We as Exclusible have done an experience for Coty, which is a big beauty group, is their entire, instead of an immense metaverse platform used to train their employees, beautiful, high-end, business spatial, VR accessible. This is where the world is going from a business standpoint. but it's important to distinguish it from gaming, right? It's the one is a social component of the metaverse. The other one is the business and enterprise use case. Two separate things that one day will collide. One day they will be in the same environment. One day it's going to be the same for both, right? Or at least I hope so. But we're very far from that. So it's important to really highlight what works for both, which is the functionality of VR and the immersiveness for business, and the social gaming aspect for on the social side, because they're the
As a
two drivers
marketing
for mass
channel, or
adoption.
as a brand building channel, basically.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But the B2B, that's also still things you work on for clients, or still something that
we do, and it's very much alive. The problem of that is, of course, it's very much hardware dependent, right? We're doing things with Apple Vision Pro right now, which is making things much easier. We have many of them internally, and we're testing things out. But we have to go step by step, and know the limitations of what works, know the limitation from a commercial standpoint. It's a very expensive headset, right? So we test things out. We always try to create experiences that are very functional. Most of the experience you'll see on Apple Vision Pro right now, I'm not a fan of. But they're a disaster, I think.
Okay.
So I've seen much better,
like AR experiences, or I think like watching a movie, or
a lot of brands are getting their existing e-commerce experience, porting it into immersive space, and they think that that's cool. I don't think that that's cool at all. I think that's extremely boring and not what the Apple Vision Pro is made of, and not what the Apple Vision Pro can give you, right? So when I think of Apple Vision Pro, I think of truly immersive, truly high-end. That's a whole other discussion. Maybe we can have another episode about that, and I can show you what we're doing. But it's indeed it is the future from not just from a business standpoint, eventually also from a consumer standpoint. But we're not there yet in terms of what I'm seeing right now. At least what our studio is doing, it's very impressive, but it has its limitations.
So it's really much R&D at this point.
It's very much R&D, although we are working already with brands to bring that to consumers. But think of the audience being a very small audience. Not very many people can afford the Apple Vision Pro. So it's very much something that brands can use in store at certain events to mind blow people. And what I'm seeing so far is not mind blowing at all. It's just something that I could see on any other website.
Interesting. So I think we're at the end of our session. Really insightful, really concrete. So it's really interesting to see you guys evolve as well. I see you guys did a lot of NFT sales, I think in 2021. When you guys founded?
2021, yes. 2021.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And going through all these phases, right? So the NFT boom, then the NFT bear market, then Metaverse boom, and
we went through all of them. And today it's Roblox, and I think it's going to be for the next foreseeable future, 5 to 10 years.
But I think the recurring thing, it's all about immersive or it's experiences, right?
And, indeed. We want to make sure that we're everywhere, but
and see what kind of cultural things resonate with the audience, and so it's not anyone can do it, I imagine. So really interesting. Thanks so much for your insights.
Thanks to you, Daniel. Absolutely.
And I want to thank everyone as well that is joining. Hope to see you guys at the next one. And the next one is in 2 weeks. We'll be talking with Carta. Also very active in the space.
Awesome studio. They do amazing things. So you get great insights from them as well.
Cool.
Very awesome. Experienced on Roblox.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to that as well. Thanks so much for joining. Hope to see you guys at the next one. And have a great day.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Have a good day.